He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
This one's wife. She's done what? Grade A clown. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife. She's pretty useless, isn't she, really? Bit of a ninny, a bit of a plonker. In fact, a lot of usefulness, all bundled up in beige. How is it that she is useless? Well, she's a mediocre actress who has no charisma and lacks a sense of humour. She starts things and never finishes them, for reasons that I have made apparently clear time and time again as a consequence of her narcissism. Her content creation is either non-existent, or when she manages to squeeze something out of the anus of asininity, it's invariably shite. She thinks she's a fashion icon when she is not. She plays at being a philanthropist when everybody realises it's self-serving. She wanders around in inappropriate clothing, rictus grin fixed upon her face, as she drinks in all of the fuel proffered by those who don't know any better than to clap and smile at her. She thinks that she is brilliant because her narcissism tells her as such, and her latest move only goes to place the cherry on the steaming pile of manure that is her lack of ability. It doesn't come as a surprise to learn that this is what she has done. But why has she done it? Well, Nika Shakhnazova, writing for the New York Post, tells us, after an arduous search for the CEO of American Riviera Orchard, this one's wife has landed on the perfect candidate, herself. Ha! Yes. What do we read into that? Well, there's a number of things. First of all, it seems to me that anybody of any ability and worth simply didn't want the gig. Would you want to work for a brand that hasn't got off the ground despite having been launched some nearly 9 months ago? Would you want to launch a brand that effectively is already dead? And, as my PR expert explained, most memorably, the patient is dead and should be buried in a shallow grave. Would you want to be CEO where basically you're going to face repeated interference from a mid-range narcissist who simply can't help but try and micromanage you? Would you want to be the CEO of a business where the owner is a repeated and documented bully? Would you want to be the CEO of a business which has nothing to offer, no infrastructure in place, and has spent the last number of months being ridiculed by anybody who's got a sense of humour? Would you want to be the CEO of a business that so far has offered jam and dog biscuits? No, you would not want to shit all over your own CV by having CEO of American Riviera Orchard on it. Accordingly, anybody with any nous, anybody with any business acumen, anybody with a sense of self-worth and credibility would go, "You can fuck that shit sky high," and would walk away from it. That means that the only people that would be available wouldn't be particularly good, which of course is no good for this one's wife, because she believes that it should be the CEO of Fortune 500 companies that ought to be the ones that should be coming to her. Real industry titans and heavyweights who will come and ensure that American Riviera Orchard becomes the brand of the millennium. She believes that she should have the best, and therefore she's going to be entirely picky about the candidates that have been put forward. Thus, very few people have been interested. Anybody that might have been a potential candidate she'll have rejected owing to her pickiness, and ultimately her narcissism has said, "You can do this better than anybody else. You, after all, have years of successfully running lifestyle brands, haven't you? You have taken startups and transferred them, taking them to the next level, conquering corporate America and beyond with your own entrepreneurial ability. No. Once again, this one's wife demonstrates that not only because of her unpopularity and toxic reputation she can't attract anybody of quality, but then she thinks, do you know what? I'll do it myself. Can you imagine the meetings that will take place? Well, if any ever do take place, absolute word salad galore. New York Post continues by explaining that the Duchess of Sussex has appointed herself as the CEO of her lifestyle brand, which is not really a surprise for a narcissist to decide that they're going to be the one to run the company, which has yet to be released after struggling to find a suitable candidate for the role. This one's wife had apparently been interviewing prospective employees for months. Oh, how I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in relation to those interviews. Can you imagine how utterly asinine and banal they will have been? You'll have probably been ushered into some kind of beige room where this one's wife sits behind a huge power desk thinking it's an episode of The Apprentice, as she then gets you to undertake some kind of reasoning puzzle, which equates to ensuring that Harry's building blocks are put back in the right order. And then she fires at you questions which could have been concocted by a 5-year-old whilst wanking on about her image and mission and what she wants to deliver and meaningful change and community and through the lens. Oh, you would have probably just sat there and thought, do you know what? I'd rather eat out of a dumpster than be employed by this woman. I'd rather be living in Tent City than have to endure day after day of this ear-bleeding banality. In August, it emerged that the Suits alum was struggling to find a suitable candidate. No shit, Sherlock. She is the CEO of American Riviera Orchard, a source told the Daily Mail's Richard Eden. In April, a source told the outlet the initial CEO search has not panned out so far. Thus, it was launched in March with this kind of fanfare. And in April, the CEO search wasn't getting anywhere. In August, it had foundered. One Hollywood insider told Page Six that the brand had become a shit show, behind the scenes with the noting she's been keeping her cards close to her chest. Right. Apparently, she's been spending the majority of the year doing work behind the scenes. My backside she has. The former actress unveiled her new business venture in March, but 9 months later there's still no release date or information about the products that customers can expect to be up for sale. The article then talks about the various trademark problems that she's had. That doesn't need to be repeated. Naturally, what we can see for ourselves is that the narcissist, because of the way that she behaves and the fact that this American Riviera Orchard brand is never going to go anywhere, has been completely unable to attract anybody of quality, and therefore she has decided that she's going to do it. It's going to be an absolute clusterfuck. That means it's just not going to appear. But on the outside chance, if it does, it's going to provide us with much hilarity. But it's no surprise to see that a self-absorbed mid-range narcissist has decided that she's going to become the CEO because, as we all know, she knows better than anybody else. After all, she's got such extensive experience running a blog that's going to assist her in the world of retail. Once again, this one's wife does not surprise because of the predictability of her narcissism demonstrates that she is queen in her own head while the rest of the world looks on and laughs. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.